I don't wanna fall in love. I just wanna have some fun, yeah. I don't wanna fall in love. I just wanna have some fun. I don't wanna fall in love, 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 fall in love. I don't wanna fall in love.
Ryan, my darling, you look absolutely stunning, Kim Min-jun exclaimed as he hugged his daughter in the grand ballroom of their opulent mansion. The sun bathed the lavish interior in a golden glow, reflecting the wealth and power of the renowned billionaire. Thank you, Appa. You're too kind. Kim Ryan smiled sweetly, patting her long lashes over her beautiful eyes. She was a vision of beauty with cascading golden locks and a slender figure. She wore a dazzling white gown that hugged her curves and a diamond necklace that sparkled on her neck. She was the spoiled daughter of Kim Min-jun and she knew it. She had grown up in a life of privilege and excess, never wanting anything. She had the best education, the finest clothes, the most luxurious vacations, and the most handsome boyfriends. She was adored by everyone, or so she thought. She twirled around the ballroom, enjoying the attention and admiration of the guests. She laughed and flirted, oblivious to the envy and resentment that some of them felt. She was used to being the center of attention and she loved it. However, her father was not blind to her flaws. He loved his daughter dearly, but he was worried about her lack of humility and compassion. He had seen how she treated others with disdain and indifference, how she wasted money on frivolous things, how she took everything for granted. He decided to put his plan into action that day. Vian was having the time of her life at the lavish ball. She swayed to the enchanting music, her white gown shimmering under the chandelier. She felt the eyes of many admirers on her, but she only had eyes for one, Cha Yun-woo, the handsome and charming son of a wealthy tycoon. He had asked her to dance, and she had gladly accepted. He held her close, his breath warm on her ear. Vian, you are the most beautiful woman I have ever seen, he whispered, making her blush. Thank you, Yunwoo. You are so nice, she replied, smiling. No, I'm serious. I can't take my eyes off you. You have captivated me, Vian. I want to be with you forever. He said, his voice was sincere. Vian felt a surge of joy in her heart. She had always liked Yunwoo, but she never thought he would feel the same way. He was everything she wanted in a man. Handsome, rich, smart, and charming. He was her perfect match. Yunwoo, I feel the same way. You make me happy. You make me feel loved, she said, gazing into his brown eyes. He smiled and leaned in to kiss her. She closed her eyes and parted her lips, ready to receive his kiss. But before their lips could meet, a familiar voice interrupted them. Vian, my dear, I have a proposition for you, Kim Min-jun said, his voice steady and firm. Wine opened her eyes and pulled away from Yunwoo. She saw her father standing next to them, his expression serious. Appa, what are you doing here? She asked, surprised and annoyed. I'm sorry to interrupt your dance, but this is urgent. Please come with me, he said, grabbing her hand. Wait a minute. What's going on? Yunwoo asked, confused and concerned. I'll explain later. Wine, please, Minjun said, dragging her away from Yunwoo. Wine looked back at Yunwoo with an apologetic look. She mouthed, I'm sorry, and followed her father to the study. Wine was feeling confused and nervous. She wondered what could possibly be wrong. Had something happened to their business, to their family, to her? She entered his study, a spacious room filled with books and paintings. He closed the door behind them and gestured for her to sit down on a leather sofa. What is this all about, Appa? You are ruining my moment, she complained. Wine, this is important. I have found a man who will teach you the true meaning of love, strength, and humility. You are going to marry him, Minjun said bluntly. Wine felt a jolt of shock run through her body. She stared at him in disbelief. What? What are you talking about? That's absurd, she exclaimed. It's true, Wine. You're going to marry a farmer, Minjun said calmly. A farmer? A farmer? Are you insane? Wine shouted. No, I'm not insane. I'm doing this for your own good, Minjun said firmly. My own good? How is marrying a poor stranger for my own good? Because you need to learn some valuable lessons in life, Wine. You need to learn how to appreciate what you have, how to work hard for what you want, how to care for others who are less fortunate than you. You need to learn how to be humble and compassionate. But Appa, I don't want to learn those things. I have my own dreams and aspirations, Wine pleaded desperately. And what are those dreams and aspirations? To live a life of luxury and vanity? To marry a man who only wants you for your beauty and money? To waste your talents and potential on the trivial things? Minjun asked. No, that's not true. I want to be happy. I want to be loved. I want to be free, Wine cried out. You don't know what happiness is, Wine. You don't know what love is. You don't know what freedom is. You are living in a bubble of illusion and deception. You're spoiled and selfish and ignorant, Minjun said harshly. That's not fair. That's not true. You don't understand me. You don't love me, Wine sobbed. I do understand you, Wine. And I do love you. That's why I'm doing this. Trust me, it's for the best, Minjun said softly. He took out an envelope from his pocket and handed it to her. What's this? Wine asked suspiciously. It's a ticket to your new life. It has the name and address of your future husband. His name is Park Jimin. He lives in a small village in the countryside. He owns a farm with some animals and crops and vet clinic. He is a simple and honest man who works hard every day, Minjun explained. And when am I supposed to marry him? Wine asked fearfully. Tomorrow morning. He had already signed the papers of marriage. You have to sign it tomorrow, Minjun said. Tomorrow morning? But that's too soon. I can't do this, father. Please don't make me do this. Wine begged, tears streaming down her face. I'm sorry, Vayan, but it's already decided. You have no choice. You are going to marry Jimin and you are going to live with him. And you are going to learn how to be a good wife and a good person, Minjun said firmly. He turned around and walked away, leaving Vayan alone with the envelope in her hand. She collapsed on the floor, clutching the envelope to her chest. She felt a wave of despair wash over her. She had just lost everything she ever wanted. She had just lost her freedom, her happiness, her love. She had just lost herself. The next morning, Vine woke up to a loud knock on her door. She opened her eyes and saw a suitcase on her bed. She realized it was not a nightmare, it was real. She was going to marry a farmer. She got up and opened the door. She saw her father standing there, his face turned and cold. Good morning, Vine. Are you ready? No, father, I'm not ready. I don't want to do this. Please let me stay. Vayan said, her voice trembling. I'm sorry, Vayan, but you have to go. It's for your own good. He grabbed her suitcase and walked out of the room. Vayan followed him, feeling numb and hopeless. She saw a car waiting for them outside the mansion. The driver opened the door for them and took the suitcase. Where are we going? To the train station. You are going by a train to the village where your husband lives. The train station? But I don't have a ticket or anything. You don't need them. I've arranged everything for you. Just sign marriage agreement and you are all set to go. But I don't want to sign it, Appa. Sign the agreement already, otherwise I will arrange a proper marriage event for you and will invite all your high-class friends. And you know what I mean by proper marriage. It means you have to live the rest of your life with him in the village. Vayan became scared and signed the agreement immediately. Her father pushed her into the car and got in himself. The driver closed the door and started the engine. The car drove away from the mansion, leaving behind Vayan's old life. Vayan looked out of the window, tears streaming down her face. She saw the familiar streets and buildings of her city, the places where she had grown up, where she had loved and played and dreamed. She felt a pang of nostalgia and sadness. She wondered if she would ever see them again, if she would ever see Yunwoo again. What he was doing right now, will he miss her? Will he love her? She closed her eyes and wished it was all a bad dream, but it wasn't. It was her new reality, and she hated it. Vayan arrived at the village after a long and tiring journey. She felt exhausted and miserable. She had no idea where she was or what to expect. She only knew that she was going to meet her husband, a man she had never seen or spoken to before. She got out of the train and saw a small and dusty train station. There were no signs or announcements, only a few people and animals wandering around. Her father had left her alone without a word or a hug. She felt a surge of anger and betrayal. How could he do this to her? How could he abandon her in this strange and backward place? How could he force her to marry a farmer? She felt a tap on her shoulder. She turned around and saw a young man standing behind her. He had black hair, brown eyes, and a clean-shaved face. He smiled at her, revealing a cute eye smile. "Hello, Ryan. I'm Park Jimin, your husband," he said, extending his hand. Ryan felt a jolt of surprise run through her body. She stared at him in disbelief. This was her husband. This was the man she was supposed to love and obey. This was the man who would teach her the true meaning of life. He was handsome, very handsome. He had a kind and gentle face, with a warm and friendly smile. He looked like he could be a model or an actor, idol, not a farmer. She felt a flicker of curiosity and attraction in her heart. She wondered what he was like, what he did, what he wanted. But she quickly suppressed those feelings. She reminded herself that she didn't want to be here, that she didn't want to marry him, that she didn't want to be his wife. She forced a smile and shook his hand. "Hello, Jimin. I'm Kim Ryan, your wife," she said, lying through her teeth. Jimin drove for about an hour until they reached a small and shabby house. It was made of wood and stone with a tin roof and a wooden fence. It had a front porch, a backyard, and a barn. It looked old and worn, in need of repair and paint. "This is it. This is our home," Jimin said, parking the truck. Ryan looked at the house, feeling dismayed and disgusted. She couldn't believe that this was where she was going to live. She couldn't believe that this was what her father had chosen for her. She compared it to her mansion, her palace, her paradise. She remembered the elegance and comfort of her old home, the beauty of her old room, the luxury and convenience of her old amenities. She felt a pang of nostalgia and grief. She missed her old home, her old life, her old self. She got out of the truck and followed Jimin to the house. He opened the door and gestured for her to enter. "Welcome to your new home, Ryan. I hope you like it." Ryan entered the house and looked around. "Let me show you around. This is the living room where we can relax and watch TV or read or talk." She saw a small and simple living room with a sofa, a coffee table, a TV, and a fireplace. "This is the kitchen where we can cook and eat together." She saw a small and modest kitchen with a stove, a fridge, a sink, and a table. "This is the bedroom where we can sleep and cuddle together." She saw a small and plain bedroom with a bed, a dresser, a closet, and a window. "This is the bathroom where we can wash up and get ready together." She saw a small and basic bathroom with a toilet, a bathtub, a sink, and a mirror. She felt a wave of disappointment and resentment wash over her. She hated the house, she hated everything about it. She hated how small and cramped it was, how old and dirty it was, how dull and boring it was. She hated how it reflected Jimin's personality, simple and modest, plain and basic, dull and boring. She turned to Jimin, hoping to find some sympathy or apology in his eyes. He seemed to love the house, he seemed to love everything about it. He seemed to love how cozy and comfortable it was, how sturdy and reliable it was, how warm and inviting it was. He seemed to love how it reflected his personality, simple and modest, plain and basic, warm and inviting. He smiled at her and took her hand. He led her through the house, showing her every detail and feature. He told her stories about how he had built or fixed or decorated everything himself. He told her how much he loved his home, how much he cherished every memory he had made there. He told her how much he wanted to share his home with her, how much he wanted to make new memories with her. He told her how much he hoped she would love his home too. But Vian didn't love his home. She didn't love anything about it. She didn't love him either. She only felt trapped in his home. She felt suffocated by his presence. She only felt miserable in his company. She closed her eyes and wished it was all a bad dream, but it wasn't. It was her new reality. Vian had been living with Jimin for a month now, and she had to admit that it wasn't as bad as she had expected. Jimin was kind and gentle, always treating her with respect and care. He never forced her to do anything she didn't want to, never raised his voice or his hand at her, never complained or criticized her. He was patient and understanding, always listening to her and trying to make her happy. He was also generous and helpful, not only to her but to everyone in the village. He was a skilled vet who could cure the disease and wounds of animals with his knowledge and herbs. He was a hard-working farmer who grew crops and raised livestock with his strength and diligence. He was a friendly neighbor who shared his food and resources with his community. He was a good man, a good husband, and Vian couldn't help but feel grateful and impressed by him. She also couldn't help but feel guilty and conflicted by him. She knew that he loved her, that he had loved her since the first day they met. She knew that he wanted her to love him back, that he hoped for her to accept him as her husband. She knew that he deserved her love, that he had earned it with his action and words. She tried to be a good wife to Jimin to repay him for his kindness and love. She helped him with his farm work, feeding the animals and watering the plants. She learned how to cook from internet, preparing meals and snacks for him. She kept the house clean, making it cozy and comfortable. She did all these things for Jimin, but not because of Jimin. She did them out of duty, out of gratitude, out of pity, not out of love. She still loved Junwoo, her first love, her true love. She still missed him, still hoped for him, still dreamed of him. She still wanted to be with him, to escape from this place and return to her old life. But as time passed by, something changed in Vian. She started to notice things about Jimin that she hadn't before. She noticed how handsome he was, how his brown eyes sparkled with joy and sincerity, how his pink lips curved into a sweet smile, how his black hair fell over his forehead in a cute way. She noticed how strong he was, how his muscles flexed under his skin as he lifted heavy things or swung an axe or rode a horse. She noticed how smart he was, how he knew so much about animals and plants, and medicine, and history, and geography, and literature. She noticed how sweet he was, how he always brought her flowers, or chocolates, or books, or anything that he thought she would like. She noticed how gentle he was, how he always touched her softly and carefully, as if she was made of glass, porcelain, or silk. She noticed how passionate he was, how he always kissed her forehead as if she was the most precious thing in the world or the only thing that mattered. She noticed all these things about Jimin and she started to feel something for Jimin. Something that she hadn't felt before, something that scared her and confused her and excited her, something that felt like love.
No one breaks their promises, or maybe drown myself in something that is bottomless. Take me back to a place where I felt at home. Take me back to a day when we weren't alone. Take me back to an age when the world felt small. Way back before we